Hi everybody, it's Dr. Millie. Thanks so much for tuning in. In this video, I will be featuring Isotonics Vitamin D and K2. This is what it looks like. Comes with this cap which you fill with water, 2 ounces per cap full of the product. You pour the powder, get more hands. You pour the powder into the cap. It's a nice pink powder, all naturally sweetened, and you pour it into about 2 ounces of water. It comes out pink, tastes delicious. I probably skipped ahead because I haven't taken my vitamin D today yet, so I really wanted to drink it down, I guess. You can see that it's slightly effervescent. This is the isotonic activation of this product because it contains electrolytes in it, which helps the quick absorption of this product. So unlike other powders on the market or even other liquids, this product is even more fast absorbing because it does have the same chemical balance as the blood. Therefore, it provides it the opportunity to bypass the digestive tract and enter directly into portal circulation. So it makes it 98% bioavailable. So depending on how good your digestive system is, you could absorb up to 98% of this product. That's compared to 40% of tablets and anywhere from maybe 50% to 60% of capsules and other powders, and a little bit more for liquids. So it's not like a regular powder. This product also has 5,000 international units of vitamin D3. That's the natural form of vitamin D3 sourced from lanolin. There is no lanolin in this product. There is no animal product in this. It is a vegetarian product. However, the D3 is originally sourced from lanolin, goes through a bacterial fermentation process, and therefore produces the vitamin D3. It also contains vitamin K2, menaquinone 7, so that's a natural form of vitamin K2, which is a fermented version of vitamin K1. The body does produce vitamin K2, however, generally we do not get enough because we are starved for good bacteria. So our digestive tract, once again, comes into play in regulating whether or not we're absorbing nutrients, and in this case, whether or not we're making nutrients. So the body does not make vitamin D3, the body does not make vitamin D2 from food. We make it from sunshine exposure. And so I think most everybody knows this. However, there is a lot of misunderstanding about when we can absorb vitamin D from the sun, how long we need to be in the sun in order to absorb vitamin D. So I'm going to try to break this down for you. If you are outside in the summer sun, the sun is shining down on you to cast a shadow that is shorter than you, that we have high sun, high noon sun. Now that might be noon for you, depending on where you're located. It might be 1 p.m. Generally high sun these days. So this is June 20th, 2018 in New York that I'm making this video. High noon sun tends to be 1 p.m., almost 1 p.m. in the afternoon. And this is the peak time of day where we can absorb, that is, convert cholesterol, which is on our skin, the UV rays. We use the UV rays from the sun. Those are the UV rays that burn us. The UV rays that burn us plus cholesterol on our skin to produce another hormone, which is also known as a nutrient, called vitamin D. Then we absorb it through our skin, it goes into our bloodstream, and it deposits in our bones and in our cells where we need it. We need vitamin D for a lot of normal bodily functions, okay? We know that we need it to help absorb calcium. We know that we need it to help protect and stabilize the white blood cells of the immune system. We know we need it to help buffer blood sugar and help make our pancreas more sensitive to sugar, therefore able to emit insulin when it's needed. Studies have also shown that vitamin D is effective in, now I'm not allowed to say this because I'm promoting a product, so you do want to read the research looking at flus, colds and flus, and vitamin D, and you also want to read a lot of research showing that people who have lower levels of vitamin D are at higher risk for cancer, heart disease, arterial sclerosis, high cholesterol, low testosterone. So vitamin D is a substrate, means that it is one of the foundations for which our body uses cholesterol and converts it not only into the vitamin D itself with the help of the UV rays, but also allows us to make hormones, the hormones that we need, our testosterone, our estrogen, our progesterone, our thyroid hormone, our adrenaline, our cortisol, etc. And vitamin D is also needed in all tissues, as I mentioned, in order to stabilize the immune system, the white blood cells. If your white blood cells are low, then it could be that you're deficient in vitamin D, and therefore you're not able to stabilize if you have a susceptibility to autoimmune, or if you get exposed to a virus. That could be a cold and flu virus, or that could be a neurological virus, any kind of virus that comes along. If your body is depleted in vitamin D3, then you are less likely to be able to your immune system to kick in so that it can fight that off naturally. So the urgency about having low vitamin D3 is that your body's immune system cannot operate normally. It also cannot absorb calcium from the blood. Now, if you go to the doctor and you get your calcium checked, you get your blood calcium measured, the calcium in your blood should not be high. It is one of the electrolytes of the body. It is used to absorb other nutrients. It is used to regulate our homeostasis, our blood pressure, our urine level, our hydration level, which regulates how well we stand and if we get dizzy and if we can breathe properly. And so electrolytes are used to maintain all of that, in addition to just simple water exchange. It's so much more complicated than that. And so calcium is one of the electrolytes that we need. Now, calcium is located in the digestive tract in order to regulate nutrient flow and water flow in and out of the kidneys, etc. But it's also being shuttled by vitamin D3 as well as vitamin K2 into the bones. Calcium really should not be lingering around excessively in the bloodstream. You do not want high blood calcium concentration. Now, if you do, this could be a problem with your parathyroid gland, so this could be an issue. However, if you are taking a lot of calcium supplements and your calcium is not being absorbed, then you also will get high circulating blood calcium. And this is not an indication that your bones are being protected. In fact, it could be the opposite. If you're having high urinary excretion of calcium, so if you go to the doctor, they look at your urine calcium, this could mean that you're losing excessive calcium, so that you're losing bone. This could, and that you're actually leaching, what we call leaching, or losing calcium from the muscles, from the bones, where you really want it stored. So when the calcium circulates in the bloodstream, you want it then to be stored in the bones, in the muscles. You do not, and especially in the heart muscle, which is the muscle that's constantly using calcium in order to function properly. If calcium is depleted, then the heart muscle can get pain, angina type symptoms. We can get leg cramps. So all of these come as a result of calcium depletion, but it's not only because of calcium, it's also because of whether or not we have enough vitamin D and vitamin K2, which are the support nutrients that are helping to drive or shuttle the calcium into the tissues, into the heart muscle, into the skeletal muscles, my biceps here, where we need it, so that we keep a regular heartbeat, so that we don't get lactic acid buildup or muscle cramps every time we lay down at night, or every time we stretch our toes, or every time we go to the gym. This is vitamin D dependent and also vitamin K2 dependent, which is why often, and in really great supplement products, vitamin D products, vitamin K2 is also included. So high circulating calcium is a bad thing. The other reason it's a bad thing is because if we also have inflammation in the blood, so if we have high CRP levels, C-reactive protein levels, if we have high homocysteine levels, or if we don't have a high enough nutrient or antioxidant intake, so if you're not eating enough berries, for instance, if you're not getting enough of those proanthocyanidins, those dark pigmented antioxidants from berries, or even if you're not getting enough of the enteric antioxidants like vitamin E and vitamin C, then you're likely to have more inflammation and less healing in the circulation. So if there's any nicks in the arteries or in the aorta or even in the veins, then you could get calcium deposits where the scar tries to heal. So high circulating cholesterol also binds and attaches to these nicks or these areas of inflammation, and then calcium sticks on top of that, making it a very poor combination, increasing the risk of arteriosclerosis or atherosclerosis. This is how we get hardening of the arteries. And so having a supplement with vitamin D3 and vitamin K2, which helps to pull the calcium out of the blood, put it in the bones where you belong so that you do not get osteoporosis and so that you do not get muscle cramps. It just makes sense to do that, right? So when we go to the doctor and we get tested for vitamin D3, and some people do get tested, you get tested for vitamin D3, you also might get tested for the storage vitamin D2. Now, some nationalities are probably likely to store, or it might be nationalities, it might be families, it might be genetically linked, to store vitamin D2 more so than they store vitamin D3. So at least once it is important, if you're going to get your vitamin D checked, to get both numbers checked, just to make sure that you're not low in vitamin D3 but then high in vitamin D2, because that would mean that you don't necessarily have to supplement with vitamin D as much as that we really need to get your thyroid and your parathyroid working again, and there might be some other nutrients that you're in need of. And so we do want as much of the facts as possible. Remember, every time that a blood test gets taken, you're really only seeing a piece of the puzzle. But knowing your vitamin D number and knowing your susceptibility to having low vitamin D is very important. And the other kind of confusing fact about vitamin D insufficiency and deficiency is that the range of normal is so large. You might have noticed this before. And if you thought about this, well, why is 30 normal and why is 100 normal? And so to me, practicing as a holistic doctor, naturopathic doctor, looking at the whole picture, I do not consider 30 to be a good number. Anything below 50, in fact, is really not a good number, even though it might be considered normal by your doctor and by the lab readings. It really just means that you're not absolutely depleted of the vitamin. So if you're under 30, you're absolutely depleted and you really do want to take 10,000 international units, up to 10,000 international units of vitamin D, and some people even say more, and I might say more in certain individuals, but not generally. But 5 to 10,000 international units of vitamin D3 is a common recommendation for me, my patients who have vitamin D levels under 30, and even people who have a difficult time raising their vitamin D3 levels. And you will know this because if you get a low number, then you get put on a vitamin D2, the medication tablet, and over 6 months it goes up, but then it's right back down again. Or you start taking, 1,000 international units of vitamin D3 and it really never goes up above the 30s or 40s, then you know that you're kind of genetically predisposed, or it could be your digestive system is not working well enough in order to absorb the vitamin D3. There could be some food issues going on there, or some leaky gut issues that are going on. The gut also requires a lot of vitamin D3. In another video, I discussed the importance of L-glutamine, which is an amino acid that helps to fortify and strengthen the cells of the small intestine so that food particles don't go through it, and so that we maintain good digestive tract integrity in the small intestine. But vitamin D3 is actually the nutrient that's required to seal those cells together, those enterocytes together, so that there's nothing leaky going on, so that the gap junctions, we call them, those are the spaces between the cells, are tight, so that no food, no gluten, no food, no chemicals gets through and makes it back into the bloodstream. So I know this is a lot of information. You can listen to this as many times as you like, and you can certainly search for what I'm talking about. If there's something you want to know more of, you can definitely ask me questions. But so there's a lot of discrepancy between how much vitamin D we really should take. And children are likely in need of vitamin D just as much as adults, especially children who have a bowing of the legs. That's next to rickets, it's osteomalacia. So it means that there's a gross, which means a pathological deficiency of vitamin D. And even children who do not go out into the sun, anybody who has darker skin needs to be in the sun for longer, and then lighter skin. Now children they do have thinner skin. They do tend to make vitamin D faster than adults, and certainly sunscreen and barrier protections inhibit how much vitamin D we absorb from the sun. So we really have to be aware of you know, the risk of burn versus vitamin D deficiency. And I feel very strongly, and just even looking at the research, that the burden of disease of vitamin D deficiency is much higher than the burden of disease of skin cancer. Now, I'm not saying to go out and get yourself burned, and obviously I'm a person who loves spending time in the sun, and I tend to use more natural and lower SPF sunscreens, because the higher SPF sunscreens are much more carcinogenic, and I prefer not to have an increased risk of skin cancer because of the product that I'm using. And so, you know, I do spend time in the sun, and so it's up to you to how you're comfortable with. I'm not saying to go out and get burned, but what I am saying is that really keep in mind and consider how dangerous vitamin D deficiency or even insufficiency is, because it could be one of the root causes of so many immune conditions. And once you have a condition, once you have arteriosclerosis, once you have autoimmune disease, once you have high blood pressure, once you have osteoporosis, it's a lot harder. You know, you might not even be able to treat it with the right combination of everything, drugs, nutrients, vitamin D included. It might be kind of too late, although of course I work at helping people reestablish normal, but it's much easier to reestablish normal when you haven't actually developed a disease yet. Benjamin Franklin said that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, and that's what it means. It means that you keep your vitamin D levels in above 50, and I recommend 75 to be optimal, and some people even need higher. Some people need 100 or over. That's rare. You want it to be consulted with somebody who knows what they're talking about in order to strive for above 100. But normal range is between 30 and 100, so do not be satisfied with the 30 range. You're setting yourself up for so many risk factors if you are walking around with low vitamin D. And this supplement tastes amazing. It's very easy to take. It's highly absorbable, not like a tablet or a pill or even like a liquid. And as I mentioned, it promotes bone mineral density, so it helps the calcium get deposited, and also not calcium. There's other minerals that are responsible for keeping bones hard. So it works with the vitamin K2 to shuttle that calcium into the bones, boosting up cartilage as well as the bones. It promotes healthy arteries, again, by taking that calcium out of the bloodstream so that the calcium is not depositing on any scabby tissue or any oxidized fat or cholesterol that's hanging around. It's going to create a narrow lining of your arteries. It supports immune health by helping the white blood cells turn over frequently and robustly like they need to, so that they can fight, you know, if there's a virus introduced or bacteria or any kind of blow to the immune system, if it's exposed to radiation or toxic pollution, all sorts of things can hit us in the immune system. And so especially if you feel depleted, if you're constantly getting colds and flus, it's really important to maintain adequate levels of vitamin D3. And I do recommend, especially if you're going to take vitamin D3 at 5,000 international units, to get a product that has the vitamin K2 in it, because it just does help to disperse the vitamin D3. They just do work so well together. Maintains bone health, like I said, helps to strengthen those bones, helps to maintain bone mass, not just bone mineral density, but also bone mass, the weight of the bone, because when bone heals, it uses osteoblasts to do so, and vitamin D has been shown to help reduce osteoclast activity and improve osteoblast activity. So it helps to improve the activity of the bones, promoting the bone growing cells, and helps to inhibit the activity of the bone weakening, bone destroying cells, the osteoclasts. And it helps to maintain cardiovascular health just generally, helps to, as I mentioned, take that calcium out of the bone, helps to maintain the homeostasis so the blood pressure is normal, so the calcium knows where it's going and not just lingering around, being a big molecule that's hanging around the blood. And it helps to promote elasticity of the blood vessels, so it helps to maintain the springiness of the blood vessels. We really want, for the magnesium also assists with this, but we really want the blood vessels to stretch when there's more volume there. So if, for instance, I've taken extra salt today, I want my blood vessels to be able to stretch and compensate for that increased water, if my body's holding water, and not to get rigid on me. And vitamin D does this by helping to remove, keep the arteries soft and supple. It helps to maintain normal blood pressure, like I mentioned, for all these reasons. And women with low bone density have been found to be deficient in vitamin K, not just deficient in vitamin D3. Although vitamin D3 supplementation in women with osteoporosis might be more important than calcium supplementation. Of course, it depends on how much calcium you're getting and from where in your diet, but do not underestimate the importance of vitamin D3. The other thing that I want to say about vitamin K is that there's two versions, there's two versions of vitamin K. There's vitamin K1, which is a clotting factor, and there's vitamin K2, which is a vitamin that helps to, as I mentioned, shuttle calcium, and it's made through the gut. So vitamin K1 we get from green leafy vegetables. Vitamin K2 we actually make when bacterial or microbiome is producing good enough levels of good bacteria. Vitamin K2 actually gets made in the large intestine near the end of digestion. Now, if we've been on a lot of antibiotics, if we tend to be constipated, if we tend to have loose stool, if we have IBS, then we might not actually be able to make vitamin K2. Vitamin K2 is also found in fermented foods, of which many of us are not eating very many of them, specifically raw fermented dairy products. I mean, raw milk is not even legal in New York, and I disagree with that. However, anyway, different topic, different day. But from raw cheese, raw yogurt, raw sour cream, that's really where we're getting most vitamin K2 from foods. If you want to know where you're getting vitamin D from foods, you're getting it from fatty fish like tuna, mackerel, and salmon. Of course, there's issues with fish, so you have to be careful about how many antibiotics you're getting through farmed fish, and you have to be careful about how much mercury you're getting through large fish like tuna or kingfish or swordfish. And shark, never eat that, right? Foods fortified with vitamin D, of course, like orange juice or some dairy products or even some soy milks and cereals. Although fortified vitamin D is not the absorbable form of vitamin D, it's not the vitamin D3, it's vitamin D2, and so therefore just not likely to be absorbed as well and could cause other problems with fortification. Beef liver, so organ meat, contain vitamin, soluble vitamin stored in the liver, so any animal will actually be higher in vitamin D, and this is also why cod liver oil, kind of an old supplement, is rich in vitamin D as well as vitamin A, because the liver tends to store our fat soluble vitamins, our A, our D, our E, and our vitamin K, the regular vitamin K. Raw cheese, hard cheeses as well, such as Parmesan, as long as it's not, as long as it's properly prepared, and egg yolks. So if you're, eating egg whites, if you're avoiding dairy, or if you're a vegetarian or vegan, then definitely you do have to be careful about making sure that you're either spending time in the sun or at least fortifying, supplementing with your vitamin D. Now, there is one vegan food that contains vitamin D. I made this a quiz one time on my Facebook page, and if you know it, then you can blurt it out, although I won't hear you. But you can brag to me if you knew it, but it is mushrooms, because mushrooms are a fungi. They grow, on the earth's floor and the humus, and they convert, they take up a whole lot of nutrients from the soil, and they make nitrogen. And because they're exposed to sun, for some whatever reason, because they're part animal, they're able to produce vitamin D too. So it's a very cool fact about mushrooms. Mushrooms are amazing. This product is gluten-free. There are no detectable GMOs in there, so no GMOs. It's vegetarian, and it's an isotonic capable drinkable supplement. And what this means is that it's very easy to swallow. It tastes wonderful. Everything in the ingredients, even in the other ingredients, serves a purpose to help us absorb it quickly. So you take it on an empty stomach, or you take it an hour after eating. It is best to take it on an empty stomach, although with vitamin D3, because it's a fat-soluble vitamin, this kind of is an exception to most of the isotonic rules. You could take it with food, and I generally do recommend taking vitamin D around this time of day. Right now it's 6:20, so you do want it, because it is a hormone. It helps us produce our melatonin, and so it helps contribute to our sleep. It is certainly not drowsy. It does not cause you to be drowsy or tired. It just, in your diurnal rhythm, in your 24-hour body clock, it just works better if you take it at this time of day. So if you would like to learn more about this product, please check the link. I do also want to recommend an app called D-Minder. I'll put the link, I'll put the name of it in the message. D-Minder, M-I-N-D-E-R. This is a really cool app that allows you to enter information about yourself, about your habits for sun exposure, and also about whether you take supplements already, and will estimate for you, although it does not know anything about your genetics. I don't think it really asks about your ethnicity either, but it will estimate to you whether you're likely to be low in vitamin D and at what time of the day you should go out so that you can get some vitamin D sunshine. Winter sunshine, you're not getting vitamin D in the winter. Sorry, guys. I hear people talking about it all the time. Going out in the fresh air is getting vitamin D. Going out in the fresh air is not getting vitamin D. It has to be the hot sun, long winter shadows. You're not going to get any vitamin D from that sun. Peak times, only peak times a day are really going to give you the vitamin D that you need. You're not really going to get summer sun, vitamin D sun in the morning or in the evening at this time of day. It's not going to happen, guys. So you know, when we're trying to make shifts towards making our health better, especially if we're choosing holistic methods, and I fully, of course, support you in this, and this is what I do, but you do want to know some science. You do want to be informed. You don't just want to hear what everybody else is saying, because so often what people say is wrong. So yeah, definitely trust the experts. Do a little bit of research. It's not that hard. And there is one other thing that I did want to say about vitamin K2 being, so vitamin K1 is a coagulant, meaning that it clots your blood. And vitamin K2 is likely a coagulant at a higher level. So it doesn't clot your blood like vitamin K2 does. So if somebody is on a blood thinning medication, then there could be an interaction between vitamin K2 and Coumadin, for instance, or warfarin. This does not mean that they cannot take vitamin K2. It just means that tell your doctor what you're on, and also continue to eat green vegetables, never stop eating green vegetables, but that the warfarin dose needs to be adjusted to what you're doing every day. So you need to take a consistent amount of vitamin K2 via food sources and supplementation every day, so that your doctor can control how your blood is thinning, and that you're not doing something different every day so that your clotting factor is different every day. I've helped a number of people regulate their clotting just by introducing a stable amount of spinach, supplements, and raspberries into their diet, and then they have no more problems. And so this is also the case on the other side of it with fish oils and turmeric and some of the supplements that thin your blood. So you guys know where to go if you want extra gems on supplementation and the body's micro biochemistry. I am here to help you with all your nutritional biochemistry. I love to talk about it. And if you have any clarifying questions, then please don't hesitate to ask. Bye.